Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I am the D1 Yapper, the D1 Yapper champion actually. Basically, I just talk on here about the shows I like and just different topics surrounding that. So today we will be talking about Stranger Things characters, specifically ranking Stranger Things characters based on how likely they are to die in season 5. Let me explain the categories. So first up we have safe. Pretty self-explanatory. Imagine me saying it like an umpire in baseball, like safe. I'm calling it now. These characters, they're safe, they're fine, they're chilling. Chilling mostly is characters I would be very surprised if they killed off. I think it'd be really strange. I wouldn't like it, wouldn't make sense narratively. And I think they're mostly safe, but I could see them through bad writing or some sort of weird plot twist killing them off. Too obvious is characters that I think, like I said, it'd be too obvious if they killed them off. Everyone's predicting it, but I don't think it would happen because it's too obvious. You're in danger. Our characters I'm a little concerned about. It's getting a little hot in here, I'm sweating a little, and I think they're in a bit of danger. Either 100% dead or a final girl is characters I think either they're definitely dying, they're the sacrifice, or they're the one who has to watch the people they love get sacrificed and they're the last ones standing. Maybe unwillingly, maybe they wanted to be the ones who died. So I think either they are 100% safe or they are going through just the utmost tragedy. Either way, not coming out of this season unscathed. Oh my god. Deader than Bob, I fear. These are characters I fear they're goners. It's going to happen. They're gone, and I'm gonna be really sad about it. But I just think that's how it's going, unfortunately. So we'll begin at the bottom with safe, or perhaps we could go one by one, sort of. But I'll do a couple from safe because that's kind of the most boring category to talk about. So beginning with Erica, I think Erica is safe. Sorry, I have a bit of a cold, so my voice is a little bit raspy and a little bit congested. But I think Erica is safe. I don't think it would make sense to kill her off. They already put Lucas through heartbreak last season. Last season really was just watching Lucas suffer. Oh my god, like when he was crying when Max was in his arms. Like they've put that boy through enough. I do not think they would kill off Erica. It'd be odd because she's a little sister. It'd be unnecessarily cruel. It wouldn't make sense for the plot. Like it would have no narrative importance, her sacrificing herself. It doesn't make sense. Like it would. There are other characters who, if they sacrifice themselves, even if they don't necessarily have the power to defeat Vecna, it would make sense narratively because it would push other characters to test their powers or things like that. So I don't think it makes sense to kill it off. That'd be just unnecessarily cruel towards Lucas. Why you gotta do my man like that? Like, what did he ever do to you? Okay. Hopper. Hopper. He is safe. He's safe. I want to believe they're gonna give him a happy ending. I'm not completely sure, but I do think he's going to have an alive ending. Yeah, I think he's going to be alive. They already did the fake out with him once. They did he sacrificed himself and then he was actually alive, and I don't think it makes sense to do that again. That'd just be poor writing. So I think they've already used up his death card, if that makes sense. They can't play that one again. Okay, let me move on to chilling mostly. I'll do one. Okay, similar to what I was saying with Erica, Lucas, I think he's chilling mostly. I think he's gonna be fine physically. Emotionally, probably not, but physically, I think he's gonna be alive after this season. They already put him through heartbreak last season. It would not make sense to kill him this season, and also, it wouldn't make sense narratively as well. I don't think his sacrifice. obviously it would be very sad and fans would be really upset, but I don't think it would necessarily make sense with the story, and they haven't done any kind of foreshadowing or anything like that. The thing his death would do would be to hurt the core 4 plus Max and Elle, and that I don't think that's enough of a reason to kill him off. Next up, Karen Wheeler. I've been seeing her on everybody's ranking list of who's going to die. I keep seeing her and she's definitely dead. I think it's too obvious. I don't think it makes sense. I don't think she's been a relevant enough character in the previous seasons to kill off. I don't think it'd have that much relevance. And I think it's too obvious. Everyone's predicting it. I don't think it's going to happen. The only way I could see it happening is if they go with the theory that she's Vecna's sister. I'd be curious how that play out, because I don't think they quite have enough time to build up that theory and have it come true in just one season with everything else going on. But if they somehow did that well, I wouldn't mind her dying and helping take down Vecna. I don't think we've grown particularly attached to her. If you're going to have a mother figure sacrifice herself, I think it'd be more impactful if it was Joyce. So I really don't think it would make sense for Karen to die. Onto Joyce. Oh my god. I think Joyce is in a little bit of danger. I do want Hopper to have his happy ending, and I do feel like he's been through enough, and it'd be very cruel to kill off Joyce when they've just gotten together. I want the Hopper and Joyce wedding in the finale, but I could definitely see her sacrificing herself for maybe Jonathan, but particularly for Will. If Will is like, I've got to sacrifice myself. That's not how he'd say it, that's how Harry Potter would say it. Or Ron, sorry. I could see her sacrificing herself for Will, and it would be good narratively because she spends the entire first season like trying to find and rescue her little boy, and I do think it would be a nice arc if she died protecting him. But I also don't want him to die. I don't want her to die. Okay. Sorry. Next up is Mike. I think Mike, he could die. I think his death, other than Will and Elle, first of all, I think Will is getting powers this season. That's definitely happening. And because of that, both of their deaths, it would make sense for them to sacrifice themselves in the final, like, fight against Vecna or something. I really could see Mike dying, however, because I think it is the death other than Will and Elle that would hurt the most people. It would obviously really hurt Will and Elle, who are the two, I think are going to be the two ones with the most power over, like, the most potential to defeat Vecna this season. So it would really affect them. It would affect Nancy, it would affect Lucas, it would affect Dustin. It'd be a big blow to everyone, particularly if they go with the theory that that his mom is Vecna's sister. That would also, I think, could spur her to maybe like help kill her brother or something like that. But yeah, I think he's in danger, but I could also see him being the character who survives but with tremendous loss, either losing Will or Elle, or potentially both Will and Elle. I could really see that. Okay, next up is Murray. He's a goner, I fear. He's deader than Bob, deader than Alexei, deader than Bob. I think he's gone. I think he just makes sense. He's the type of character that you kill off as a final blow. He's been there from the start. He's beloved, but he's not too beloved that it would enrage fans. It would make sense for his character arc because it would show character growth if he sacrificed himself for the greater good. I really could see it happening because he's not like a new character they just introduced this season, so it'd have more of an impact, but he's also not like too big of a character. I think it really makes sense. It'd be painful, but I think he's the first to go. It makes a lot of sense to kill him off. Okay, back to the bottom. I talked about Harper. I don't think I've talked about Holly. Holly, I think she's safe. I think it'd be really odd to kill off a literal child that young. She's not plot relevant, really. It seems like she's going to be in this season more than the other seasons, but I don't think it would make sense to kill her off anyways. She's a little child. That would be unnecessary, and I just don't think it makes sense. Robin. I think Robin is chilling mostly. The only way I could see her getting killed off is to hurt Steve, I think. I feel like her death, it would affect Steve and Dustin the most, but especially Steve, but not really anyone else. I mean, they'd be sad probably, but it wouldn't be like this huge momentous occasion for them. So it doesn't make sense narratively, and it'd also be just kind of odd to take like the one lesbian character and kill her off, especially if they're going to kill Will. Can't kill Will and Robin, that's homophobic. There's a clear thing those two have in common. I think Robin is safe. I think she's fine. I don't think it makes sense plot-wise. I think it'd be really odd. I think she's too beloved of a character, and also not plot relevant enough. She's both too loved and not important enough to die, which is a good combo for her because it means she's going to live, most likely, unless someone in the script makes an atrocious mistake. Max, I've seen people also predicting that she's going to die this season. I think it's too obvious. The only way I could see her dying would be if not being killed by Vecna or by something in Upside Down, but succumbing to her injuries from the previous season. So I could see like Lucas and Elle particularly really holding on and believing like Max is going to be fine, she's going to survive, she's going to heal, and then them having to accept and let go of her and let her die peacefully. That would really hurt. I don't think they'd do it. I think it's too complex of a storyline and too depressing, honestly. Like, yes, Stranger Things is scary and people die, but I think that would be very depressing for the show, even for its final season. Oh my gosh, maybe I'm going to die. Yeah, I just don't think it makes sense. I think it'd be too obvious. They already threatened her last season. I don't think they'd do it again this season. It hurt Lucas too much. The only way it would happen would be a slow giving her up. But I don't think that's going to happen because Sadie Sink has been on set filming, so I don't see why they would have her there just to pretend to be in a coma the whole season. That wouldn't make sense. Jonathan. I think Jonathan's in danger. Similar to Joyce, I could see him sacrificing himself for Will, and also we saw Nancy covered in blood crying in one of the clips that they've released from the new season, and the characters that would make most sense for like for Nancy to be crying over would be Steve, Mike, or Jonathan, and Jonathan would affect both Will and Nancy. I could definitely see him sacrificing himself for Will, and I think that could be like what Will needs to push himself to kill Vecna, if it's gonna be him who kills Vecna. I think it would make sense. I want Jonathan and Nancy to live happily ever after. I love Steve. And I love Nancy. I love them separately. I don't love Steve and Nancy together. I think Steve needs someone new. Okay, on to Will. Oh, Will, my darling. I think he might die. I think he's either going to die or he's going to lose everyone and everything that he loves. I think it began with him and it should end with him. I think that would make sense narratively, whether that means he either goes through tremendous loss or he himself dies. It began with the disappearance of Will Byers. I think it could end with the death of Will Byers. It would make a lot of sense metaphorically. Oh my god, I need to cough again, sorry. Water. Okay, I really could see Will dying. In a similar vein, I actually could see both Will and Elle dying. They already killed off Hopper's daughter once, and it would kill Joyce if Will died. But I could see both of them dying, and kind of as a sad finale, Joyce and Hopper kind of like finding comfort in each other in their shared grief of their children dying. It'd be really depressing. I don't think they would go that way, but it also would make sense because Elle and Will both, they begin and end the story their narrative foils, I think it would make a lot of sense. It would destroy Mike, and that would also make sense. I really could see them both dying, like sacrificing themselves, if they both get powers, especially. Like the story, it begins with the disappearance of Will and the appearance of Elle. I think it would make sense for the story to end somehow with both of them as well. Okay, back to the bottom. Oh, we'll do 2 this time. Oh, what is her name? I'm gonna call her Anne with an E, because that's what I know her from. This girl right here. She's safe. I don't think it makes sense to kill her off. She's not very relevant. It would just be homophobic. The only person she's important to is Robin, and they'd just be like, wow, Robin has this girl who is implied to like her back. Finally, we're gonna kill her. Like, that would suck. Don't do that. Oh my god. Argyle, similarly, don't think he's plot relevant enough. He's a new character, or was a new character last season, like Eddie, but Eddie had gotten himself involved, sort of, in the plot with the whole, like, Chrissy and the town hunting him down. Argyle, however, was kind of just there for the ride, so I don't think he's going to die. It just wouldn't make sense. It'd be an odd sacrifice. Nancy, I think she's fine. She just doesn't give the vibes that she's going to die. There hasn't been any kind of foreshadowing, and she seems like a character they would more put through mourning than through death, if that makes sense. I definitely think she's going to go through tremendous loss, though. I think she's either losing Steve, Jonathan, or Mike, because of the blood on her crying, and I think that would make a lot of sense. Nancy's going through tremendous loss. Side note, speaking about Jonathan and Nancy versus Steve and Nancy, I'd said this already, I don't want Steve and Nancy to end up together. I feel like she had moved on from Steve, and it was just really odd to all of a sudden have her be, like, yearning for him again. And I think her and Jonathan were so cute together until last season. I feel like last season they kind of did them dirty. I would love for them to find each other again. Oh my god, I'm sick as a dog. Dustin. I think Dustin's in a little bit of danger. It would kill me if they killed him. Oh my god, you can't kill Dustin. He's just so lovable. And I feel like out of the core 4, like Will, Mike, Dustin, Lucas, Dustin and Lucas are safer because they don't have that metaphor of you're the heart like Mike has, and they don't have like the power or the narrative, like how would it go well with the narrative, like the disappearance of Will Byers and then ending with the death of Will Byers. They don't have that, but I could see them killing him off just to be little shits, just to be like, there, look, like the most painful death we could have had happen, and we're gonna do it. And I do really think it would spur the rest of the group to action, because Dustin's just so lovable. It would be shocking. It'd be quite shocking. I could really see them doing it just for the shock factor. However, I don't think it's going to happen because Steve and Dustin are always together, and there's no universe where Steve is letting Dustin die. If Steve is there, Dustin is not dying. Steve is dying. So they'd have to separate them somehow. I think just Dustin's like plot armor is Steve, because we know Steve would do anything to protect him. Okay, up to Elle. So I already talked about her a bit. I think similar to Will, how the show begins with his disappearance and it could end with his death, I think the show began with her appearance and it could end with her death. They already have kind of done a fake out with her a couple of times. Like, they fake out like, oh, she sacrificed herself to seal the Upside Down, psych, she's alive. And then they've done, oh, she lost her powers, psych, she got them back. So I think if she does die, it's going to be pretty brutal because we're going to see that she's dead. It's going to be definite that she's dead. She's not coming back. She's not secretly alive. Like I said, maybe they'll kill off Will and Elle. I also think it would narratively make sense, though, to kill off Elle, unfortunately. Because she kind of represents the weirdness and the tragedy that the Upside Down has brought, if that makes sense. She appears when all the bad things in Hawkins start happening. She's the one who opened the portal to the Upside Down, and I think it would wrap up nice narratively for all that to end with her. Like, she could kind of represent this strange time in their lives. They'd remember that girl. She was so, like, that strange girl with the powers who he loved so dearly, and like she had to go with the Upside Down because she was kind of related to it. I do think it would make sense narratively, but it would be really sad. Also, I think they've made a problem for themselves here this season, because obviously Byler is super popular and so is Myleven, and one of those three is gonna die. Mike, Will, and Elle, not all three of them are gonna be alive. I'm calling it right now. Like, if they all survive, that's disappointing, because they are the ones that make the most sense, either narratively or when it comes to plot relevancy, for them to die. But it does leave a bit of a sticky situation. If Will dies and Mike and Eleven get together, that's kind of homophobic. That sucks, because we know Will is in love with Mike. So it's like he sacrifices himself and then Mike just ends up with Elle. That sucks. But it'd also kind of be strange if they got Mike and Will together and then killed either Mike or Will. That would be burying your gays. That's not great. Don't want to do that. If they killed off Elle and got Byler together, that would also be odd. That'd be like, wow, look at that. You died. You sacrificed yourself to save everyone, and then your boyfriend got with your brother, or like your adopted brother, basically. That's also not fantastic. Don't want that to happen. And then if Mike and Elle are together and Mike dies, that, I don't know. I mean, I guess that'd make the most sense. It's just complicated because I feel like people are going to be upset no matter what, because either you have the endgame ship and one of them dies, and that upsets everyone because everyone obviously wants a happy ending for their ship, or you have the two in the endgame ship and then one of them and then the other one dies, so either Mike and Will are together or Mike and Elle are together, and then the other one dies. That is just directly like rude almost to the fans of that ship. So honestly, I think it kind of makes the most sense for Mike to die, because then Will and Elle will have this sort of shared grief. But I do want either Will or Elle to die, because it's so nice narratively. It's just so nice. But it is really a sticky situation with the ships. Okay, finally, the one you've all been waiting for is Steve. First of all, let me paint you a picture. What I want for Steve's ending. In the epilogue, they've mentioned they're going to have like a 30-minute long epilogue or something, or 40 minutes or something. I think it should end with Steve moving out of Hawkins. Maybe he moves in with Robin because she's graduating, I'm pretty sure. Maybe she's already graduated. They escape Hawkins together. They're living in a crappy apartment somewhere. Steve gets a new job, and he's at his job, and he has like a meet cute with this girl, and we just know she's like the one. She's perfect for him. He finally has found his girl, and that's the end of his story. That's what I picture. New city, new apartment. Him and Robin are hanging out. Maybe he calls Dustin in the epilogue. We see him hanging. He's like, "Oh, bye, Dustin. Like, I miss you too, bud. I'll come visit soon." Hangs up. Says, "Hi, Robin. So great that we're living together." He walks to his job. He goes to his job, and then he has the cutest meeting with this girl ever that we know is like gonna be the love of his life. That's what I want for my boy Steve. Do I think it's going to happen? No, I do not. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think Steve is gonna die. It makes the most sense, because I think what they're going to do for a big final like ultimate sacrifice season like this, it's kill off a main character, someone who's not just important to the fans but important to the plot. So either Mike, Will, or Elle, I think, are goners, and then kill off 2 to potentially 3 lovable side characters. So I think Murray's a goner because he's, like I said, a side character that's lovable but like not too important to the plot and not crazy important to the fans. No one will be too upset over his death, but they will be sad. And then Steve, I think, would be the side character. I don't know, not a main, he's a side character, I'm sorry, he is. I love him, but he's a main character to the fans, and that's what's important, is he's a character that it wouldn't affect the plot too much, other than it would obviously, it would get Dustin and Nancy and Robin really riled up. Also killing him off, it would hurt the fans the most, and it would really be like the ultimate sacrifice to show just how much they're losing in this battle towards Vecna. I think it just would make a lot of sense to kill him off. Unfortunately, he would hurt the most, and that would show what a terrible final challenge this is. So, yeah, if they kill off, because, and also it would affect all the characters that way. Steve would affect Dustin, Robin, and Nancy, and also a bit Max. I would say Max a little bit, because she did write that letter to him. I feel like she kind of looks to him a bit as like a surrogate brother. And then killing off Mike would hurt the core 4 plus Elle. Killing off Elle would hurt the core 4 plus Hopper and Joyce and Max. And killing off Will would hurt the core 4, Elle, and Joyce and Jonathan. So that kind of covers everyone. If they pick one of those 3 plus Steve, that covers all our bases. All the characters will have sacrificed something or have lost something. Yeah, that's what I think Steve is gonna die. I think he's gonna die, and they've been planning on killing him off for so long now. I really think they've been saving it for it to hurt the most. I think they're going to do a fake out with Dustin. You're gonna think that Dustin is gonna die. You're gonna be like, oh my god, no, and then Steve is gonna sacrifice himself. Yeah. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed that. Sorry I'm so sick. Hopefully the sound of my coughs wasn't too disgusting. Yeah. Bye.